We live in a society and time where there's more information than we know what to do with. And 99% of the time, this information finds us through social media, like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. These social media platforms can be a great outlet for information and connection to talk to people and learn things from around the world. But it can also be an outlet for misinformation and negative opinions that are being communicated as facts. Social media is a part of the lives of nearly 90% of teens all over the US, with Pew Research studies showing that nearly 40% of teens check TikTok and Instagram constantly, and the other 40% checking it several times a day. Why this brings a problem is because when they're at that adolescent age, it is a very high time for identity formation. They're very highly sensitive to social comparison, and this makes this age very vulnerable to the negative effects of social media. With the apps that they use most, like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat revolving around visual appearance, it unintentionally shifts their mind into focusing so highly on visual appearance and their body image over more genuine things. What I believe to be the most detrimental part in the dynamic on these apps is the power imbalance between the influencers and the teenagers that are consuming their content. What many teens don't realize is that these influencers are not professionals, they are not doctors, and they do not have credible evidence to back up the content and information that they are putting out there. It is simply their opinion, and a lot of the time this opinion can be extremely toxic, dangerous, and misinformed. For example, skinny talk. Skinny talk is a subgenre on TikTok where it obsesses and idolizes being skinny, quote-unquote healthy, and eating as little or as healthy as possible. With children and teens focusing highly on their self-image, this becomes a page where many of them flow to. What they find on these apps are trends like what I eat in a day, where it is a body checking style video where they not only obsess over the little amount that they're eating, but how they look when they're eating this little. They are also met with extreme exercise routines and dieting tips. There's also a power imbalance that shifts to the influencer side. Platforms like TikTok and Instagram reward the most edited and highly filtered, saturated posts, meaning that the posts that have the most filters and edits and are particularly or possibly photoshopped are then pushed out and shown the most. This creates the delusion that these are the ideal and normal pictures that people are producing, creating any other picture to seem inadequate and ugly. According to the Modems 2021 study, 71% of people edit their selfies, so even the ones that do not land on the quote-unquote For You page end up also being highly edited and superficial. This then leads to all social medias being heavily saturated with altered and skinny bodies and heavily focused on being healthy and skinny. Inevitably, this leads to teens with disordered eating. According to Canavos Reg 2020, 59% of adolescents screened positive for subclinical eating disorders, 23% screened positive for clinical eating disorders, and more than 80% reported some level of disordered eating. It is the constant comparison and informational imbalance within power that pushes these eating disorders on adolescents and on anyone that is on these social media platforms. The most important thing to remember on social media is that what you see is not a fact. It is not true, and it is not the ideal standards. What's real is what's in front of you, real life, and that's what matters. Thank you.